The starship Terran Hope hummed through the void between galaxies, carrying its precious cargo of refugees from the fallen Draconian Empire. Among them sat Emma, her iridescent scales dulled by malnutrition and grief, wings folded tight against her trembling frame. Jason Torres, the ship's human medic, made his rounds through the refugee quarters. He'd seen countless species pass through these halls: Zenthari warriors, Plovian merchants, even a few crystalline lumens. But the Draconians affected him most. Once the galaxy's proudest species, now reduced to homeless wanderers, Emma sat alone in the corner of the communal area, away from the other refugees. Her emerald eyes tracked Jason's movements with a mixture of hope and fear. The other Draconians whispered among themselves, casting occasional glances her way. She was different, smaller, weaker, her scales bearing the scars of a difficult life even before the Empire's fall. "Medical check, everyone," Jason announced, his translator converting his words into the melodic tones of High Draconic. "Just routine, making sure you're all settling in." He worked his way through the group, checking vital signs, distributing nutrient supplements designed for their unique biology. The Draconians were cordial but distant, their pride still intact despite their circumstances. They'd lost their worlds, but not their dignity. Finally, Jason approached Emma. Up close, he could see how young she was, barely into adulthood by Draconian standards. Her scales, which should have gleamed like polished gemstones, were patchy and dull. Malnutrition, he noted. Chronic stress. Possibly abuse. "Hello," he said gently, kneeling to meet her eyes. "I'm Jason. Mind if I do a quick scan?" Emma nodded, not trusting her voice. She'd heard the stories about humans, the strange bipeds who'd somehow clawed their way to the stars despite lacking wings, scales, or natural weapons. They were soft creatures, illogically compassionate, dangerously unpredictable. Jason's scanner hummed over her body. His frown deepened with each reading. "When did you last eat a full meal?" "3 cycles ago," Emma whispered. "The others, they need it more. They're stronger, more valuable for rebuilding." "That's not how this works." Jason's voice was firm but kind. "Everyone eats. Everyone gets care. That's the human way." Emma's eyes widened. The human way. She'd heard whispers of it. The bizarre notion that all lives held equal value, that strength wasn't the sole measure of worth. It seemed like a beautiful lie, too good to be true. Jason pulled out a specialized nutrition pack. "This is formulated for Draconian biology. High protein, essential minerals for scale health. I want you eating 3 of these a day until we get some weight back on you." As he handed her the pack, their fingers briefly touched. Emma flinched, then froze. She stared at Jason's hand, soft, scaleless, vulnerable. Yet it had offered help without hesitation. "What?" The word escaped before she could stop it. "Why what? Why help me? I'm defective. My wings never developed properly. My fire gland is weak. I can barely produce a spark. Among my people, I'm worthless. A burden. Even now, the others only tolerate me because—" "Stop." Jason's interruption was gentle but absolute. "You're not defective. You're not worthless. You're a person who deserves care and dignity. Full stop. No qualifications needed." Emma felt something crack inside her chest. Months of holding herself together, of enduring the other's disdain, of believing she deserved nothing. It all came crashing down. Her eyes began to shimmer with unshed tears. "I don't understand humans," she said, voice breaking. "You're so weak compared to us. No claws, no fire, no wings. Yet you conquered the stars. You defeated species that should have crushed you. And now you help those who would never have helped you." Jason smiled sadly. "That's exactly why we made it this far. We learned early that our strength wasn't in individual power. It was in lifting each other up. Every human, no matter how weak or defective by some arbitrary standard, has value, has potential. We don't throw people away." Emma's composure shattered. Before she could think, before pride or fear could stop her, the words tumbled out. "Could you give me a hug, please?" The communal area fell silent. The other Draconians stared in shock. Physical comfort between species was uncommon. Asking for it, begging for it, was unthinkable, especially from a human, a species they'd once considered beneath them. Jason didn't hesitate. He opened his arms, and Emma collapsed into them. her larger frame folding awkwardly as she buried her face against his shoulder. He held her firmly, one hand gently stroking the ridge of her spine between her stunted wings, and then she cried. She cried for the empire that fell, for the family she'd lost, for the years of being told she wasn't enough. But most of all, she cried because someone, this strange, soft human, had looked at her and seen worth where her own people saw only failure. Jason held her through it all, murmuring soft reassurances. Around them, the other Draconians shifted uncomfortably. Some looked away in shame. Others watched with dawning realization. When Emma finally pulled back, her eyes were red but clearer than they'd been in months. "Thank you," she whispered. I, I didn't know I needed that." "Anytime," Jason said simply. He pressed another nutrition pack into her hands. "And I mean it, 3 a day? Doctor's orders. You're going to get strong again, Emma. Not because you need to prove your worth, but because you deserve to be healthy and happy." As Jason moved on to his other duties, Emma sat clutching the nutrition packs, something unfamiliar blooming in her chest. Hope, she realized. For the first time since the Empire's fall, she felt hope. Behind her, one of the elder Draconians spoke quietly. "Perhaps there is something to learn from these humans after all." Emma smiled through her drying tears. Perhaps there was indeed.